Welcome. This is Farm Drive, and my name is Yoshambogwa. It is 24th of August 2023. It's always a pleasure to have you on board. And you can follow us in any of our social media handles. That is Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Farmers Media. And kama kawaida, I am not alone. I am with this beautiful lady. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm good. You?
How is Thursday? Thursday is TBT.
Thursday is very big. Okay. Having in mind that today is 24th and the month ends at 31st. It's a week. Next Thursday.
1 more week.
Yeah, man. This week, I've realized that we've had like 5 weeks.
Yeah, we are now remaining with half a month for the month to come to an end. I think this has been one of the longest months.
The longest month. August. What happened? Wait not for someone. It could be in September right now.
But anyway, we're going to take it one step at a time. And I think that's the best way you take life. One step at a time until you're through with the days of the year. But again, we say it. You see, when you look at it in terms of an year, the days are moving fast. But in terms of August itself, kidogo, it's moving slow.
Oh.
Yes.
Hey, manze, August, atakama. Do us justice. Especially Geshe. Geshe has been waiting for this month to end.
I don't know why I'm waiting for this month to end. But
is it your birthday?
No, my birthday was just long ago. Right? You know, it was several years ago. But I'm just waiting for. You see, when you have something new, you're also excited. Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm still excited about September.
What?
When you get to September, you're nearing the last quarter of the year. Yeah.
Actually. Yay.
So we are getting there.
September, here we come. Next week, but one. Actually, Friday. This September is starting on Friday. Do you know we have from September, October, November, December, the last 4 months just end with ma. Did you notice? I know you didn't.
Okay, yeah.
Now you know.
I wish you had some money. I'll have some cash today. But anyway, that's nice. That's a good observation. And so, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty cool.
Okay.
Just some bit of some complications, but I know they'll sort it out soon, and I'll be good.
It's gonna be well.
Yeah.
It's gonna be well.
You?
Yeah, I'm doing better than you, of course.
Today I had the director saying that, I don't know, guys, I promise you, we didn't tell each other that, we didn't match intentionally. We just found ourselves dressed this way.
No, we decided it's an attire.
No. No. Guys, I promise. No, I didn't even talk to him.
God.
I was surprised.
You're looking nice.
I know, as usual.
Following my route. Welcome.
Thanks. In case you're joining us, my name is Bosquin, and of course, Gioshimbogo is right here, and you're tuned to Farm Drive right here to Farmers Media, where we connect, learn, and grow. Remember to always follow all our social media platforms from Facebook, X, TikTok, and Instagram at Farmers Media, and don't forget to visit our website www.farmersmedia.com, where you find all these stuffs that we talk about. And in case you have any inquiry, don't hesitate. Just DM, comment, call. There's our phone number is always open. You can communicate and we'll assist you through. And also don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, such that in case you missed anything in any of our shows, you need to recommend someone maybe, you can reach out. So make sure you don't forget to subscribe and hit that button, the bell, so that anytime we are live, we've posted, uploaded, you are notified.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very important. Now, we are going to, I need to ask, what do you think should be a definition of a rural place versus an urban place?
Okay, so that's odd. Rural, ushago, urban, tao.
No, you just need to
in layman's language.
Definition.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, rural is the village part, whereby you find that it's not that developed and a lot of things is not modernized as the urban.
Okay.
The urban is so modernized, and you find that a lot of development is done, there's a lot of infrastructure. You can get access to anything, like you can access anything easily, unlike rural, in terms of infrastructure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are many questions that come up with the full definition of rural and urban.
Mm-hmm.
But today we are looking at, the role of agribusiness
Mm-hmm.
in development in rural areas.
Mm-hmm.
What is the role? What part does agribusiness play in the development of the rural areas? What you have said, most of the times you say it's a village, it's Ushago. But the question is, can we have a rural, an area designated as rural in Nairobi?
Okay, Nairobi is an urban. Nairobi is an urban center. Like it's urban because there's. Can you really find in Nairobi? It's rare. We can't. Nairobi is the smallest county in Kenya, actually, but with big population, large population, let's say, in terms of number. But due to the buildings and being the city and the capital, it's rare.
So I'm looking at a county so far away from Nairobi.
Mm-hmm.
Can we quantify it as rural? So you're going home and you say, I'm going to Trans Nzoia, then
Mm-hmm.
go.
Yeah, see, there's that, we have the town center, and then to the home sides, where sometimes even you can't even access electricity, power. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's better. So we are talking about what we are terming as rural. What part does agribusiness play? And we say agribusiness is the whole concept of the cycle of a farmer.
Yeah.
In terms of planting, processing, distribution, the whole manufacturing, distribution, all the way to the consumer, and then you're coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how can we upgrade and expand the reach of these rural areas in terms of agriculture? That's what we're discussing today.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the facts that we need to understand from a huge definition that is known is that rural areas are characterized by a low population.
Mm-hmm.
We have fewer built up structures.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're not so much built structures. But if they are built, they are also small, just for one's family. If someone told me that if you need to know a place is kind of growing, you look at the kind of structures in terms of houses being built there.
Mm-hmm.
Are they building for families alone, or are they doing it for others who are coming to rent? Most of the times is what we call natural environments. These areas have vast forests. They have beautiful sceneries. So you cannot compare as much as cities. Cities is much of houses, neighbors, just everything is built. But if you look at rural areas, most of the times they have vast areas.
Yeah.
Huge tracts of land. And I think one of the most important things that will help us quantify what is rural is the cost of living. I think that's so important.
Yeah.
So you need to ask, how much do you buy one tomato?
Okay, sometimes we don't even buy because they plant.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yours is?
I told you have a kitchen garden. Where we plant everything.
So you're in an urban area that is a town, but you're living the rural life partly.
We are in the rural area.
Okay.
Rural area.
I'm really trying to.
Yeah, you're really. Don't hit somewhere and then boom, the ancestor is like, nah, you can't escape this.
One of the biggest challenges.
Mm-hmm.
You come from rural then to urban, you find the same RR they are there. But anyway,
But once you leave the rural, coming to the urban, you can't leave that. Okay, I've said it right. Rural.
so you're moving from the rural, but you're coming to the urban, but you still carrying your
ruralism. Okay, if there's a word like that exists.
Okay, fine. So we can say the cost of living matters most if you're coming to cities. So a good example is you are in Trans Nzoia,
Yeah.
but there is a Trans Nzoia urban part.
Of course, we have the town center, which is Kitale. Very, it's an urban where we get all the services, including maybe financial institutions. You have markets, supermarkets, where people go for the general markets. Where main transportation is being taken, have bus stations. Yeah.
So the whole issue of shopping centers, supermarkets, and banks play a lot in the urban areas.
Yeah, it really adds up. Because that's what makes it urban. Yeah.
Wow, that's very important. There was a discussion, I think, that was in around 2017 during the elections, and there was a whole discussion of probably having a new city in Kenya. Starting a new city from the scratch. That is part of getting these areas becoming urban again. I don't know if that plan is still there, but there was a discussion about that because there was a comparison of what Tanzania has done from Arusha and Dodoma and the rest. There has been that Dar es Salaam, sorry. There has been that discussion that we can have a new city in this country. But I don't know where the discussion went. This is all about urban and rural. But some of the facts we need to understand is that rural and urban can vary depending on where you are. Okay?
Yeah.
Because you can be in Kitale and you're looking at Kitale in terms of there is an urban part of Kitale and then there is a rural part of Kitale. But you come in to Nairobi, there's someone who looks at Kitale as rural, the whole of it. He goes there, is like men of Shango. That is very important. But some of the important facts, especially facts about population, is done through census.
True.
And the last census was done in 2019. Now, from that census, there is this statistics that 35.7 million Kenyans are below 35 years. That simply means we have a youthful generation. And in all the population that was there in 2019 is that 32.73 million Kenyans are living in the rural areas. So we are looking at how do we upgrade the livelihood of 32.7 million people using agribusiness.
Yeah,
very important. And from still the statistics is that there is a high rate of
unemployment.
Yes.
Yeah, it is. It's true.
And funny fact, look at this. It says that in rural areas we have 17.3% of unemployment compared to the urban areas with 13.8%.
Okay, it happens. We are saying this because you feel like, okay, let me explain the scenario as to why we're having the 17 or the 13.8% in the urban.
Why? I expected that in the urban we should have...
Okay, most youth or most people come from the village. They go to the urban areas thinking they'll get employment. Most schools or these higher institutions, they are in the urban areas. This is whereby most people go to, you study. And then after you've done studying, you like, let me not go back home. Let me try and find if I can get something to do. As I wait, maybe doors to open.
Okay.
So I think that's the reason as to why we have so many. And as much as most people are not employed in the urban areas, but at least they get a means somehow to maneuver. At the end of the day, they get something to pay their bills.
Okay.
Now maybe you can go for, this waging work. You pay your paid wages to work, maybe. Yeah.
Because I'm looking at it this way, because I'm looking at it in terms of urban areas. Because my thinking was probably in the urban areas we should have a high number of people unemployed, because I think that is where most people converge. And you see, when you're in the rural, you're at home. Most of the times you are in a comfort zone. Okay. That was the ideology that I had. Look at this. This is another fact. This is a research done by the United Nations Population Fund, UNFPA, in 2020. And this is what they say, that in 1 year, we have 277,000 people moving from the rural to the urban areas. I was doing my calculation of this one done in monthly. Look at it in terms of monthly, that is 23,000 people, 23,083 people moving from rural to urban. Do it in 1 week, that is 5,770 people moving from rural to urban. And every day we have 824 people who are moving from rural to urban. The big question is, how can agribusiness impact the livelihood of people living in the rural areas to avoid the whole issue of rural-urban movement? So that is basically what I'm doing today.
In my point of view, we tend to think of white-collar jobs as the one which are paying, and we tend to forget about the blue-collar jobs.
Okay.
We have the white, which is just being in office, doing office work 24/7. But this one, the other one is for farming, just technical, man using your hands, arts, and all that. So most people, we've grown up and we've been raised knowing that white-collar jobs pay more than blue-collar jobs. And most people study and go to schools having the mentality, I'm going to school so that I can be employed somewhere to work.
Most people go to school.
Yeah, and then you're forgetting that you can go to school, use that knowledge, come back home and develop something. Like farming, for instance. Farming, if you have your piece of land, it only requires something. There's very little. You need to have knowledge of what you're supposed to do and have an idea of how to go through about it. Once you have that, it's going to be so easy for you to to start and run. And once you've started farming and you have the knowledge of the market, the pricing, and you've established the seasons, you're going to be rich, very rich. Because you see, farming is an art, so it depends. Let's first of all, if we get rid of the mentality of the white collar jobs and start to consider the blue collar jobs, then we'll be somewhere.
But it's kind of hard to get out of that mentality.
That's why you see most people shifting from the rural, trying and thinking like we're going to the urban area so that there you can get jobs and make rural area a better place.
I'll go back to the former CS education, the late Professor George Makoha. He really stressed on the issue of TVETs.
Yeah.
You see, TVETs are mainly because of technical careers and jobs. The government has been really pushing for that.
Yeah.
If you look at the trends that are going on, I think most institutions of higher learning that are known as universities have probably TVET branches in the various other branches they had. So I think that one will come in handy in terms of giving many the technical skills. Okay,
sure.
I think it will help. Now, I also think part of curbing the whole issue of unemployment and rural-urban migration movement, it's part of what devolution also came to do. It's part of what the government is doing in terms of opening more companies and industries in the rural areas.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
we look at it in terms of some of the devolved functions that the government has done. Sorry.
Like the county government to,
Yes.
Okay, if they improve some of the infrastructure, try to improve maybe their services in the county, I think they'll cap. For instance, improvement of their health services. That is number one. This one will make, if you check out the management of health facilities and services, like the hospitals, dispensaries, and maybe the health centers within the county, if they're improved, then it's going to be a better place. Like, most people be like at home, you only have one hospital.
And probably it's not even...
It's very far, and sometimes you get there and find they are not doctors, or they're just nurses, and then you're told come next week so that you can check you again. Or maybe you don't have the medicines. We don't have the lab check, So you end up, sometimes you prefer going to the urban centers, because right now if I get sick, I just get out, make 2 steps, there's a hospital. Like there are so many hospitals in the urban areas. Yeah.
Part of what county governments came to do is to enrich the rural areas.
Yeah.
What you've said is there has been a devolved unit from the national government to the county government, and one thing they devolved is health.
Yeah.
The health sector has been devolved and given to the county governments. The other one is in terms of roads.
Yeah.
The roads that are maintained by the county governments, and those are the more interior ones.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like we are bringing government services and the whole government closer to this individual who is at the rural areas.
True.
Okay, part of it is what we call, I think, what was the whole ECD program,
Pre-primary education, like early childhood development and vocational training, whereby they've managed this, these schools, the training centers within the county, so that anyone can access.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they are devolved units that have been done, and I think from the speech that the president gave in the devolution conference, I think we're going to see more devolved units going to the county government. And I remember I asked you a question. Are we getting the fruits of devolution in terms of development in our rural areas? Are we getting those roads that have been devolved to them? Are we getting the ECD centers? The whole trade thing was also devolved to the county governments. They are the ones who give licenses. So are we seeing favorable practices in the rural areas when we are coming to bring the whole issue of agribusiness in that? We also need to look at some of the factors that are affecting the rural growth. Some of the factors that are actually affecting the rural growth. One of them, I think, one of the most important things is accessibility in terms of infrastructure.
True.
Yes.
And the other one is
problem.
Yeah, very. And infrastructures, that one includes roads, market centers, financial institutions. Like, it's really a lot that when it lacks, it is a problem. Even health centers.
I think we ignore that most of the times.
Yeah, we do. We're okay, but it's not. It's a problem.
A huge problem.
Yeah.
So I need to ask myself, is the whole issue of devolution really helping in terms of infrastructure? Are we connecting our areas? Yeah, those roads that are known to be, known is Najangwa na MCA and the rest. So are we getting infrastructure getting into our rural areas?
Especially roads. You remember when you used to study about transport and communication? Roads, if you have poor roads and you are an agriculture-based county or region, it's a big problem when it comes to harvesting or even when carrying out any farm management practices, because you'll be limited if the roads are impassable. Yeah. Or we have potholes, on the road. So something has to be done.
And sometimes it's fascinating that But personally, I'll say from where I come from, I have seen the impact of devolution in terms of roads. I think there were roads you used to use when you were going to, the interior parts where you're going to the farm. And nowadays, they are good. But again, we'll also say in terms of the whole Kenyan setup, we always have substandard stuff. So probably it's a road, but it's substandard. It's just a few days and then
at home I used to notice like during campaigns, that's when you see roads being made. And you see they come, they drill like the way they do, and then they pour maram, and they're like, we've started this. So give us more years, we finish. After you've elected, then boom, they do that thing.
In fact, you'll always have that mentality. Unaona ameanza kujenga barabara.
Let's tumpe tu time. But tena hapo penye aliachia atakuja kupick after 5 years, and it's like, now we started, now and that's how it goes. During campaigns, let me tell you, the roads are usually cool. Anything you ask for, any complaint you raise, it's usually attended to. But politicians, we need to stop this. Let's be realistic. At some point, I feel like, no, we let's not continue doing things. Let's be fair to our people,
I lost a bit in fact. I lost because you're heading there.
Yeah, okay, I won't wait to be told. I'll do it.
I'll make sure I remind you.
It's fine. Yeah, the internet never forgets. Yeah, so this voice still remains there.
Another factor apart from
the infrastructure, yes, we have access to the markets, whereby the rural areas, they struggle to access market due to distance, the poor transportation, like means of transport, and lack of distribution of networks,
yes,
whereby it limits them, like the ability of rural businesses to sell their products and generate their income. So it is a challenge to them. It really affects the economic development, because when that trade or business doesn't take place, especially of the agricultural produce, we lag the economy behind.
So we are talking about markets in terms of this farmer who is in the interior part.
Yeah.
And high chances are you might not be able to access the market, the urban market, as you probably wish. Because if you're in the rural and you're a farmer, probably you're producing potatoes, and your neighbor is producing potatoes. The other neighbor also producing potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot sell to each other.
Sure.
Because you have a common commodity.
Sure.
So in terms of accessing markets, we are looking at any export opportunity. We are looking at any urban market where you're probably going to meet people who are not farming,
mm-hmm,
people who are just consumers.
Yeah.
So access to some of these markets, and sometimes it's because of lack of information. Sometimes it's because of the whole supply chain stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You probably don't have a way to process it to something else at the shelf life. So the whole issue of infrastructure, it becomes a problem in accessing the market.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's a very, very huge issue.
And the other one is about the lack of capital and finance. This is whereby they are limited to access credit and financing options.
Yes.
Yeah, and that one, it hinders when it comes to investment in agriculture and non-agricultural enterprises, because it really affects business growth and other technological adoption. And there's that overall economic expansion. So we lack maybe these financial institutions, and there's the restriction, like you can't access loans. Maybe you want to develop your farm, you want to boost your like maybe you have cows, you need to add them, you need to insure them, like giving the insurance to them, you can't access that. And so if something happens, you get a loss.
Yes.
that's it. If you want to start again, you have no chance to do that because there's no one to lend you loan. Or and there's, you know what it does.
Well, partly I'll go with your definition of what you told us. You told us when you're looking at an urban area, you're looking at huge chain supermarkets, you're looking at financial institutions. So all the times in the rural areas, you only have the Jamaat merry-go-round.
Yeah.
And I think I had some words from one of the farmer in the rural areas when the president was encouraging farmers when he was launching the fertilizer. And he was encouraging farmers to, double their fertilizer intake. Okay. So this gentleman says, we can't do that because even getting the finance to buy certified seeds sometimes is a problem.
Yeah, true.
So sometimes unanunua zile za nyuma. So accessing credit facilities, financial institutions comes in handy. Very, very important.
Yeah.
And I think I told you yesterday that financial institutions have channeled their credit facilities in terms of assets. You want to buy a vehicle, you get a loan that is meant for that.
Yeah.
You want to build a house, to buy a parcel of land, you do that.
Yeah.
But if you want to farm, most of the times you don't get such credit facilities. So that becomes also a challenge in the rural areas in accessing some of these important things. The other thing is what you've said about the youth migration. Many of our young people are leaving, including us, we are leaving the rural for the urban.
True.
Okay.
That's why we are here, by the way.
We have left huge tracts of land.
Yes.
That are probably not in use, or that would be cheaper even to hire, and the cost of life there, to start life will not be hard. So many times we are conditioned to watanaenda maisha in the city.
Yeah.
So the whole issue of rural-urban migration simply means we don't have new technology coming with these guys who are educated. We don't have new technology coming in. We don't have new expertise coming in because you went to school. After your school, you went back to the urban area or you went to the town. So it becomes also a big challenge.
Yeah. And the other one, you have the low education attainment. Most people from the rural lack quality education and training opportunities. Yeah, and this one, it leads to a workforce with the insufficient skills. So for modern agribusiness and non-agricultural ventures. So the moment you have the education's level, so you're not open, you're limited to do or achieve some things. So I think if there'll be more of those TVET institution and that push for trainings in the rural areas so that they get to know and understand much about agribusiness or business itself to really help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you said about that. I found a young man who went to was called, I don't know if it's a TTI or a TVET. I don't know if there's any difference with that. But some of these institutions have really gone to the rural areas.
Yeah, majority are in the rural areas.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you see that, it simply means there's someone coming all the way from Kisumu and is going to a TTI or a TVET institution someplace in Laikipia, in the rural area.
Yeah, true.
So we are seeing a growth in terms of, we are seeing new workforce, new people coming in the town. It really opens up the new rural areas.
Yeah.
We're also looking at the issue of technology. Getting technology to rural areas has become a huge problem because probably we don't have the skills to operate this new technology that is coming in. We don't have the information of the new technology that is coming in. It really takes time for us to access that, and it becomes a big hindrance for that.
Yeah.
Because at times you don't have the whole issue of diversification. It becomes a problem because if you don't have the newest technology, the newest seed that has been certified, then it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
and it really hinders the whole issue of agribusiness and growth.
Inadequate health services, whereby you have poor access to health facilities and services, and this one can never negatively impact the health and productivity of rural populations. When you're sick, when you're not in a position to do something like health wise, you can't give any contribution. So it's a big problem. We should check into that. And I remember among the big four agenda, health was among them.
Yes.
Yeah, the universal health, I think. Was it healthcare or?
Yes.
Yeah,
It was a universal health.
healthcare. But that one was you. Anyway, let's not go there.
But it's part of the governance, and we are looking to see if you see the regime will continue with it, because when you look at in terms of health insurance, you're looking at NHIF, looking at NSSF, you find that in the rural areas,
people have no idea what that is.
They only got the number. I have the NHIF number, I have the NSSF number, but nothing.
Okay, I remember when you're back in high school, when they introduced the universal healthcare, whereby you were given UPI numbers, so that when you go to the hospital, you don't need to pay anything. You just give that number, and they deduct. In case of you buy medicine, you're treated, you don't pay anything. Usually used to do that. But I don't know where it go. It's not operational. Is it? I don't know. I don't think it is. I'm not sure. But that one really helped, because health sometimes sucks when it comes to bills, hospital bills, and buying of medication. It's expensive. So I think they should help. In my own opinion, if I had powers.
In your own opinion, if you had powers.
Yes, if I had powers, like health could just be free. Fully funded by the government, whereby you're sick today, you just get to the hospital, get treated, be fine. And that some other, like let's say the Western countries, for them health, they don't charge you. Like you're fully insured. And if you fall sick today or at work, you're rushed to any hospital, you get treated and get discharged free. And they even make sure, like they follow up, know how you're doing. If you're that critical, they give you someone to take care of you until you're okay. But I think but I hope one day we'll be there as a country.
It's part of being a developed country.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we are racing towards it. I had one, I think she was a medical practitioner. She said that some of the, sicknesses and diseases that are affecting people are not even a big deal if they are discovered as early as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because at times they say they receive, someone who has been with this condition for years. You've been in this condition for 5 years, always saying that, hey, I can feel some pain on my back. I can feel some pain somewhere. My stomach has been having. You've been saying that for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you get to the medical facilities, they're asking you for scans, for further, examination, and only to realize that you're suffering from, something kind of worse than when it was when it started.
Yeah.
So I think the whole issue of health and medical cover is one thing that should be looked intently and among as the first agendas for any regime and any government that comes in.
Yeah.
Very important.
I think that one will really help. And especially they just say people below from 25 to below, like their health, like whenever you get sick, just get to the hospital, be treated for free. It will really help. From 26 going up, someone who is developed at least can pay for an insurance. No, I'm speaking on behalf of, comrades.
Why placing at 26?
Because you're 26.
No, I'm not because I'm 26. I'm just, why 26?
No, up to 25, you're still children. No, I know that's not the right word, but you're still children. You're still a child. You're still a baby.
Okay.
Yeah, from 26 going up,
An adult.
you are now an adult. At least you can think on your own, do things on your own. But below 25,
Adulthood starts at 30. But anyway, that's a different.
no, that's where life starts. No, life starts at 40. But nowadays, the lifespan has reduced.
Well, we were told that when you get at 30, that is when you stop the whole concept of I come from a poor background. So, ukifika 30, you're the background yourself.
Okay, I don't want to get into that, but anyway, environment degradation, it's a contribution by unsustainable farming practices and resource exploitation. It can lead to soil erosion, deforestation, mostly when charcoal burners mostly are from the rural areas. So you find that they do deforestation, they cut down trees, burn charcoal, but they don't replace the tree, therefore leading to deforestation. And other forms of environmental degradation that will really affect the agriculture viability, like it really affects.
I think that is part of information. When you have the right information, you definitely know how you can plant trees and still do farming at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it in this manner. You say you have a kitchen garden.
Yeah.
Now, the reason you do that is because you are in an urban center, and you probably want your fresh produce. So I'm thinking you going back to the rural area and having a whole acre or some few tracts of land, knowing what that small kitchen garden has done for you. Okay? Now I can imagine what you will be thinking in terms of, now I have 1 acre and I need to utilize it. Okay? When it comes to the whole issue of deforestation, sometimes we classify that at times rural areas is characterized by the whole vegetation, and a lot of beautiful sceneries. So at times people want to relocate over there, or there's a whole issue of logging and timber.
Yeah.
And it has good money.
Yeah.
So you
It really pays. It really pays. It does.
Why are you telling me this?
I'm trying to open you up. It really pays.
Okay.
Especially these fast growing trees like eucalyptus.
Yes.
Bro.
In fact, we have people who buy portions of land
just to plant trees.
Rural areas, and then they just come plant trees, get back to their wherever they came from, and then they'll come back after 3 years.
Yeah, just to cut them down and plant again. It happens. That's what I'm telling you. Others don't even buy. They agree with the seller. I'm going to hire your land for 10 years. Just lease 10 years. And then this guy plants trees. After that period, like eucalyptus, after 3, depending on the breed, the variety you're planting, and how it matures and for what purpose, goes to Kenya Power, signs the contract, be like, I'll be planting, I'll be selling you 10,000 trees. And comes, plant the trees, watch it after 3 years or 4 years. They come. Now the size is okay. They monitor because they're the ones who buy for Kenya Power posts. So they like, this one is okay, this one is okay. Then they cut them down. They carry.
But nowadays,
that's our business.
They're doing the...
when the issue of, deforestation came through and all that. So that's when I think they opted. And also the issue of about stability and strength. You find out that sometimes these trees, when a tree falls, they fall too. But the concrete one still stands firm. Yeah, so it becomes easy.
Okay.
But from the rural areas, they usually use the posts.
It's available. It's all over there. So
yeah. So
the rural areas use it.
Actually, in the town centers, that's where you find the poles, like the concrete poles. But from the rural, from there it's just the posts.
Yeah, the normal ones that you're using from Kitambo.
Yeah, but within Kitangela you see them.
Oh, maybe in New Zealand, Kitambo.
But they were doing reshuffling and changing of.
Oh yeah.
But anyway,
It's part of life anyway.
yeah.
Part of some of the things that really affects rural areas is that most of them depend on agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
And we also made a conclusion yesterday that at times when you're doing agriculture and you don't have access to water,
Mm-hmm.
you depend on the climate. So if the climate changes,
Yeah.
it changes with the value of your pocket.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So all the times climate changes are really affecting rural areas because probably at that time the government has not invested in many boreholes or dams as it should be like the urban areas.
Mm-hmm.
There's always been a discussion that the government will set up a dam in Kitengela,
Mm-hmm.
but the main thought of the dam is how they will give the people of Nairobi water. Is how they will give the residents of a certain area water, but not because of the irrigation of the residents around.
Yeah.
So that is kind of one of the discussion that has been on, and the whole issue of climate, when it changes with everything, economic, everything that pertains to the economy of those residing in the rural areas.
Mm-hmm.
It becomes a challenge.
Yeah, and the other challenge, it's about the lack of agro processing facilities, whereby and the value added products, and when you lack these agro processing facilities, it can really result to low profitabilities to farmers.
Yes.
If you are growing maybe, let's say, tomatoes, and you can make tomato paste, if you don't have this agro processing, like the industry, the company to go to do the processing, it's really the farmers, they don't get that much benefit. Now I have to sell to you so that you know somewhere where you can get, and you're going to sell to them at higher, and you're going to sell it at a higher price. Now you see, I just get peanuts. So let me quote that. So if we could be having those agro processing companies or facilities within the rural areas, it will be easy. Like, I just farm, go talk to them, be like, I'm having tomatoes, this is what. Now be like, okay, we process tomato paste, this is the quotation, and then
This is the price.
this is the price. Now you see, you get much when the company buys direct from you. You get a lot of benefits, other than selling to someone, so someone can go to sell to another one. And this one will minimize profit, like minimize the loss, and you get a lot of profit. But because there is you get less profit.
So I'm looking at a farmer who is doing what? Who is producing, let me use potatoes. So for you to get such an industry where you can add value to your potatoes, you need to transport your potatoes all the way probably to a near urban area where you sell there, and then they add value, and then they go back with your money. I'm asking, why can't we have these industries set where the raw materials are available?
Yeah, I wonder why.
Okay. So we are looking at setting up a company or an industry that requires 150 workers. Okay. So if we set it at your rural area, it simply means we have employed the farmers in terms of selling their produce.
Yeah.
We have employed other
Rural from the rural,
either from the rural or new experts that is joining the company. Okay, so that we also empower the whole issue of rural areas.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I feel on that point, it's so funny where you find, like, we have millers. Millers along Mombasa Road, and we don't have people planting maize or growing maize around. So you can imagine this maize is being transported all the way from maize producing counties, now being brought here for it to be milled and packaged to flour within. Why don't we do this? We have maize production in Kitale. Why don't we have millers in Kitale or Trans Nzoia, Western Gishu, the North Rift region? We have millers there, such that After harvesting, now it's shelling and all that. Now you buy direct from farmers, you mail, into flour. Once you have that flour, why don't you take now the flour from here, now come and sell?
Yeah.
Or distribute to the urban areas. Now that's what I used to think about.
Well, I don't know what would be, because there must be a reason to that. Probably they are looking at it in terms of it's easy to bring the raw material. Then when we have a refined product, we need to be closer to the town centers so that distribution will be easy.
You can set up a distribution station still. Like we're distributors. We distribute maize flour from this company.
Okay.
Like I feel that if there should be that company, actually the cost of transporting, and we talked about the sales fee.
Yes.
Now imagine from Trans Nzoia County, how many counties are you passing?
They must
Get to Nairobi.
not less than 5 or 6.
Yeah. Now you can imagine. So to cut the cost of sales, why don't someone just come up and be like, now let me go and have my mailer around there. So that one will be easier.
Yes.
You'll even be motivating farmers and be like, we are buying maize, so produce maize in bulk.
Yes.
We are buying this, so do this in bulk. Why is it that, yes, we are talking about that and you're like, why is it that we don't have a tea production? A factory within, or a coffee within?
You're bringing your coffee all the way from around.
Imagine. Now, if we have a tea production area, the factory is not even very far from them.
It's always around.
It's always around. The KTDA, I don't know, that's for tea. It is always there. For coffee, I'm not sure. For coffees. But I've seen people produce coffee and, I don't know how they do them, fry them, do what, and then they grind. There's a way they do.
They produce
homemade coffee. And it's very sweet.
Okay.
I don't know how, but I've ever tasted it sweet. You love it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I feel like it's high time for us to do this development. If we develop rurals for urban, it will be easier.
Yes.
Because the urban has already developed. Now, if we boost it, it will be so easy in terms of movement, business. It will be like our country will move on so fast. I don't know why is it so hard for people to be so clingy. I don't know, but at least let's try.
I think that falls partly in terms of government, in terms of an individual. But for me, I think governments are trying to upgrade some of these places. And sometimes you can also, it's all about social service deficit in terms of what you said, healthcare facilities, other social amenities.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people try and move to the urban areas where they can access some of these amenities, and then some of them are what we expect should be in the rural areas.
Mm-hmm.
We expect we need to have as many extension farm officers in the rural areas. We expect that some of these government parastatals that deal with farming should have their offices in the rural areas, but most of the times you find the main offices are in towns, in urban areas, and no branches or the rest. So when we look at this, we are looking in terms of some of major challenges that will affect the rural areas and will cause the rural-urban movement.
True. Mm-hmm.
And becomes a bigger challenge.
Mm-hmm.
I think we take a short break. We'll be back after this, and we are looking at now how can we use agribusiness to
develop the rural.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very important.
Don't touch that dial. We'll be back in a few.
Drip irrigation is a type of micro irrigation system that has potential to save water and nutrients by allowing water to drip slowly to the roots of the plants, either from above the soil surface or buried below the surface. The goal is to place water directly into the root zone and minimize evaporation. This system is very efficient because it delivers water directly to the plant roots, reducing water waste. It's often used in arid regions or during periods of water shortage, but it's also used in more temperate climates for its efficient and conservation benefits. Common uses include vegetable gardens, flower beds, trees, shrubs, and agroforests. It can be set up for both small-scale home gardens and large-scale agricultural operations. The system requires a water source, a method to distribute the water, usually tubes and hoses, and emitters which control the amount of water delivered.
Welcome back. This is Farm Drive, and my name is Gyoshe Mbogwa.
Of course, Bosco in here. And earlier, before we went for a short break, we were talking about the challenges, the barriers to rural development in terms of impacting the agribusiness. And right now, we want to see what is the role of agribusiness in rural development. Like, what do you think can be done? What do you think the impact of agribusiness towards rural development? Now we're going to mention some of the few of them or much of them, and then we explain, and you get to understand. Let's see the core. What is this that is breaking, and what can we do to improve this situation?
Yes. So when you're looking at rural development, we say that rural areas depend on agriculture.
Yeah.
So we say anything changing in agriculture simply means it has changed with the value of your pocket. It has changed with your livelihood. It has changed with everything you dependent on.
Yeah.
Okay? And that is where you need to use quality fertilizer that is going to boost your produce, that is going to give you a good produce so that you maximize your profits and you minimize all your losses. We have what we call NASCO liquid fertilizer. Okay?
Yeah.
It is one of the fertilizer that would really boost your produce. We are looking at your pH levels. We are looking at a fertilizer that is 100%
organic. Yeah.
Yes.
Something doesn't have chemicals. So in case you want to practice or you want to cultivate crops that you're going to sell in terms of exports or for international markets, it's very fit for you, and you can use it to any crop.
Yes.
It is compatible to any type of crop.
Vegetables.
Yeah, and remember, it's liquid.
What else?
It is liquid.
Flowers.
Yeah, flowers, anything.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think there is any good deal in terms of fertilizer other than NASCO organic liquid fertilizer.
And
This is one of the best.
the one thing I like about this, it's because it's liquid. You don't have to, touch it, and have to go pull a drone and you're like mix it, and then the drone goes
Yes. Very, very.
straight, very fast.
So when you're talking about precision agriculture,
Mm-hmm.
this is one level
Yeah.
as a farmer that you have crossed in terms of getting to precision agriculture.
Very true. Yeah.
So when you're looking at something that is 100% organic, something that will bring nutrients to your soil, that simply tells you at the end of the season, you will have a harvest
Yeah.
that you will enjoy about.
Very.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that as a farmer, you're also boosting your income, you're boosting the economic value of your pocket. Very important.
Very.
So some of how does agribusiness play that role in terms of developing the rural areas?
First of all, due to creating employment opportunities.
Okay.
First of all, like this agribusiness, they create if you create employment or job opportunities at various stages, of the agriculture, value chain, from farming to food production to distribution to transportation to marketing. This it helps to reduce the rural unemployment and the underemployment, because most people get their chance to work in those farms, maybe in a farm, the farm where you plant
we already
and all
have
that.
laborers who are in the farm.
Yeah, and also in the production farm, whereby there's the processing
Value
of
addition.
food, and all that. So it really creates employment, and therefore, once employment is created, people are, they start developing, and that's how the rural starts developing. Yes.
So we are looking at a rural area where we don't want to end our cycle of agriculture at just farming and harvesting.
Yeah.
We want to go beyond harvesting, still doing it in our local area.
Yeah.
So we want to add value. We want to have that milk, cooler.
Processing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or the processing one.
Mm-hmm.
We want to have an industry or a company that can add value to our potatoes.
Yeah.
That simply means we are still creating employment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are lifting the standards of this area. I remember back in my place when the whole issue of logging was still in practice.
Mm-hmm.
Many young men had been employed by these
Logging companies.
yes,
Yeah.
many. In fact, I think there were some of them who would finish their form 4 and they're like, why should I continue school?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm earning enough to start a family and do this and that. But when the logging was banned and everything closed, I think that was the beginning of the misery of many. So we are looking at, farming is one of the most sustainable practice in the rural areas.
Mm-hmm.
So we are looking at it in terms, we go into food processing and the rest, it will come in handy.
Mm-hmm.
We look at the whole issue of income
Yeah.
generation.
Mm-hmm.
From this farmer who is selling the goods,
Mm-hmm.
so he doesn't have to, go far away to get the processing companies. It's still around, it's still in the area.
Mm-hmm.
Or at times, there are farmers who do it for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
There are farmers who process their own produce
Yeah.
and add value to it. So we are looking in terms of trade. We will be increasing the whole level of trade and increasing the income of those who are in the farms. And I think the reason why most people, move from the rural areas is because of income. It is perceived that if you remain around, you probably have an income.
Mm-hmm.
That's the challenge.
Yeah. And therefore, most of the agribusiness, they add value to the raw agricultural products. This is whereby through processing of agricultural products, packaging, branding, this one it enhances the market value of the production, and therefore it allows rural production to earn higher profits. Yeah.
We also need to look at market. When we set up our own markets in the rural areas, or we are able to access markets from the rural areas. So when we have market access, simply means we enable the producers to reach the borders, and when you get to the border, they have a one-on-one in terms of consumer feedback. You have the preference of the consumer. They're like, this variety of avocados, this variety of maize, this variety of potatoes is better. We love it. It becomes so easy for you even to, to shift with the consumer preferences. But as long as we in the rural areas, we produce, others sell, then it becomes a bigger problem. So we're looking at the whole issue of market access.
Okay.
Yes.
And also, if agribusiness introduce modern farming, in terms of technology adoption, the modern farming techniques and machineries, use of machinery and the technology itself to the rural areas, it will really lead to increased agricultural productivity, and the efficiency and quality will increase.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think one of the most important things as land, water, in terms of agriculture and agribusiness, is what we call research. Cambry and the rest, I think for them they have tried, because most of the Cambry facilities are in the rural areas. So we are looking at research institutions getting into the rural areas. That simply means they are ready to come. Any pest, any disease that comes up, it becomes so easy. So when we think in terms of production and agribusiness, we are looking at the whole issue of research and innovation. This will bring in new varieties.
Yeah.
So we are looking at varieties that are good for export. So they are good for the market. They are good for production. They are new varieties that are going to be introduced. Then we'll also have improved farming practices. We said sometimes the reason why we don't do as it should be done in the rural areas is because there is that lack of information, and you're not able to access the information faster. Okay. Or there's a new variety in the country you don't know. This variety is drought resistant. This variety is resistant to this and that, but you probably don't know. But when it comes to innovation, and probably even setting some of these innovation centers in the rural areas, it becomes so easy. Sometimes you hear farmers are trying to reach out, oh, we have this problem, we are having this kind of disease, this pest is really disturbing us, and they're trying to shout out to some of these government parastatals that deal with agriculture, the research institutions, they don't come on time. So that causes a lot of losses.
Okay. And also, speaking of that, we have, the issue of diversification of income. This is whereby, agribusinesses, they encourage diversification by supporting non-traditional agricultural activities such as agro-processing and food manufacturing, and also agro-tourism, what I talk about most, and this one reduces the activities as they reduce the dependency of, you are depending on your one type of farming. So if we bring this agro-tourism, agro-processing, food manufacturing, you're diversified. Therefore means if one thing fails, you still have the other one to hold on to you. So it really helps, because imagine practicing agro-tourism whereby you open up a farm, you plant different things, and you open up for your tourists to come. And if they come to visit your farm, you pay a fee for you to enter, entrance fee, so that you get to know, to learn, and also through that, those products you are having, or the produce you are planting or processing, you get to sell them to the people who are coming, these tourists who are coming to visit your farm.
Yes.
Yeah, and you'll open to any international, rural, nation-wise, you're open so that people can come and visit your farm, get to learn, and as they learn, they've already paid. And that one, remember, you're farming, you're harvesting,
income from the produce,
you're harvesting, and you're maybe processing at the same time, and this one you're selling to these people at the same time. It's a tourist attraction where people come in and pay And it really works. If the tourism part fails, you'll still be harvesting, processing, and selling outside. Yeah. So, agribusiness, it can really develop the rural. Most people feel like rural is so cool, so calm.
Yes.
Then there's fresh air. The environment is cool, quiet. So you can come up with a farm and be like, now there's a setup. You plant grass. It just looks so good. You put some shades on them and be like, now this is a garden whereby you can go for picnic and all that. You created something out of it.
Yeah.
And you get income from it.
Oh, that's nice.
And that's something I'm planning to do also in the near future.
I'm looking at it in terms of the main goal is to open up the rural areas.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend of mine who tells me that anytime he feels, there are times you feel your head is clogged.
Yeah.
You feel you're tired.
You just feel to go to a certain environment and just relax. No disturbance, no phone, no one to call you. Just you.
In fact,
The you time.
he taught me that if you feel the whole, you see, if you're in an urban area, let's say Nairobi,
Mm-hmm.
there's always the issue of, the air
Mm-hmm.
is kind of,
Yeah.
and then too much noise.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Yeah. I
So he told
understand.
me he always goes to some place in Moraga.
Mm-hmm.
There's a friend he goes to visit. He only goes there for a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
By the time he's coming back, he's clear.
Yeah.
Because freshness, all that, it's quiet.
Yeah, all you hear is the natural sound. Like where I come from, we have like 3 resorts. This is for one person, but they are 3 different. Because she owns a very big piece of land, very big. So she decided, instead of cultivating, doing all that, so she has a ranch. And also the others, she has made them to be like a reserve, like a tourist attraction, whereby there are rooms. Like it is the way she has like built them. There's a way she has the environment looks so cool, so serene. And it has swimming pool somewhere you can chill. So if you need a getaway, a place where you can go out for a weekend, for maybe 2 weeks, 1 week, and you're like, I just need to go somewhere and relax, somewhere in the village. Like, it's so cool. That place looks so good.
So she has capitalized in the rural.
Yeah. So you find that
she's doing farming.
Yeah, she is.
Oh.
Yeah. So I just said she has a ranch, and she has So what happens is, and mind you, people come. Now in my village, people used to, these white people can just walk by the market and you find wazungus and you're like, hey, what are these people doing here? Because of that.
Oh, that has.
And we have a national reserve, like a game reserve somewhere close to home. Now you see people are coming, instead of going there, they're like, let's come, relax here, and then go there, visit, then come back.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's so cool. And then people are going to hike maybe in Cherangani Hills, Mount Kenya, and they prefer, let's come chill here because it's so cool. And they also offer nyama choma. So who hates that?
Probably whatever you're offering is nyama choma is what you have given. It's your own produce.
Yeah, because she rears both livestock, chicken, poultry.
Wow.
There's bee farming also. Like, she's all round. That lady fascinates me.
Yeah, that's a good example of the whole cycle of agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
That is agribusiness in its nature.
Yeah.
Because I've seen farmers who major probably on rabbits.
Mm-hmm.
So they have the different species and of rabbits.
Yeah.
So if you want to know about rabbits, you can interest
Mm-hmm.
you get there and you do everything.
Yeah, and even if you want to maybe go and rear,
Mm-hmm.
you even being sold.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a good one. That's what I'm telling you.
And in the rural
Areas, yeah, I've seen that. I've ever tried rabbit keeping.
How did it go? Because I also tried.
Not really rabbit keeping, but now I wanted that rabbit to be a pet.
Okay. Welcome to
Now,
This is Kenya, code 254.
now this is what happened. Now I was like, we have that big cousin who was, he's a boy. Little kid, he was like into rabbits. Now I went to visit and I was like, I want a rabbit. I was like, I'll give you one. You go with it. And I was like, I'm happy. So he just gave me one and I was like, let me go with it. You know, I used to even sleep with it in my bed. Just to hold it. You know those stories you used to read about rabbits eating carrots and all that? We go to the farm and just carrot and bring it and see if it's going to eat.
Education did well for you.
I know. But that was part of education.
That doesn't say education did well.
You know, like that rabbit, I stayed with it indoors, like in my bed. You know, it pees, I go take it, change the bedsheet and be like, it was that.
What was the end of the rabbit? Where did you...
Now one day I was going to, I think I was going to church, and yeah, I went to church, like, you know, the PMC thing, church. So when I came back, I found that somebody left my door open and it was out. Then it went out and it was chased by dogs. Sad.
So did you cry?
Yes, I did. Actually, I'm feeling like I want to cry now. Yeah, like, you know, it was a gift and it was a white one. And then it was so cute.
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
But anyway, it's part of life. I felt bad until when I went back to that cousin, I told him and he was like, don't worry.
But you were young.
I was young. You know,
Right now you would.
when I get time, maybe.
Oh.
You know,
Yeah, adulthood has catched up with you. It may die of hunger.
no, but I used to bring her everything.
No, right now you would. You wouldn't.
But you know, the better part was like petting it, taming it to be a pet, like not to do anything, you know, be
So
just a pet.
To bring your doll, you should bring
Yeah.
a rabbit doll. Okay.
Not now. Give me that money. I'll use it somewhere else.
I mean, adulthood has
Yeah, no, the only thing that entices me is a teddy bear. Yeah, thank you. Let's move to the next point of
student development. If we invest much, I feel like the whole rabbit thing has made a toll with my mind.
Why?
But-
Because you said you've ever ventured into rabbits.
Yes, and I did it for some time, but I was young. I think the highest number I had was 32, I guess. 32.
32.
Yes.
Wow.
And I think some of the challenges were sometimes they would die, you even don't know what's wrong. Okay. I think that was the most painful part, and I still have the pain of being a farmer and you can't tell why. This is dying. Okay? So that was one of the problems. But I started selling, and until I had to go, boarding school. So going for boarding school,
Nobody's going to take care of them.
So you need to eat them. I remember there was a time I slaughtered.
I hear it's sweet, though I've never tasted their meat. Anyway.
Maybe some of these places it's very important.
But I miss my childhood. I miss that rabbit. It even had a name.
So what was the name?
Let's continue. Let's continue. I call it Keki. Keki.
Okay, skills and development. You need to have the skills in order to know how you will take care of Keki.
Kiki died.
It's Keki.
Kiki.
Why Keki?
Okay, just love the name.
I'll get one and then. Oh, I think that's so. I think that's a character in people when they're naming animals.
Yeah, actually, all our animals have name.
No,
even cows.
The way you name it, you just get one. Is it a boil or like the key, and then you repeat it.
No, like I used to.
That is the same way that
We used to have there's this cowboy used to like at home where you used to live before we went where we were. That cowboy used to be my friend back then when I was young. Kiki, yeah. They used to the nickname was Kiki. And I used to love that because I'll just be like this and
why did you want your friend someone?
No, it'll be like Kiki, 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 and that one was like, this one fits.
You know that the same way that those guys came with Chihuahua did. They did Chihuahua and then they repeated Wa, so it was Chihuahua. You did with Ki and you repeated Ki and it was Kiki.
No, it wasn't my making because he was nicknamed Kiki.
Okay, you need to look at that.
Yes.
Would you name your pet something?
Yes, because even like our cows back at home, we have at home animals, most of them, because at home, like the mom bought a cow and she named it her name. It gave birth to firstborn, which was a she, and she named my name. The secondborn was a male. It was named my brother's name. So it went with both the second name, and then the third one was a she. Again, she was named my name. Now my first name. Now the second one, the fourth. She's expectant. She'll be giving birth soon. So I'm hoping gives birth to a he. So that I name my brother's name. Then we have four of us, like two names, and you're having your two cows here. You know, it's fun. It's so fun. Yeah.
That is part of skills development.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of how you take of the produce of what you're rearing and also naming them. It's very important. It requires skills.
Okay. In terms of infrastructure development, also. When you have the establishment of, the growth of agribusiness, it often require investments and infrastructures such as, the processing companies, facilities, storage units, transportation networks, they really matter, and even the cold chains. And this infrastructures benefits the entire community because once the road networks are developed, it's not only for the community, for the purpose of, the companies connecting to the market, but also for you. You have a smooth movement from one place to another.
Export opportunities is one of them. This is what you need to have when you're thinking about the market, where you're able to go beyond your border, where you're able to get to the markets that are beyond your border. It becomes a key factor that will really open up the rural areas.
Yeah.
Knowing that you can have, the international standards still practice at your rural area. It simply means it opens up, it gives you the skills, it gives you the quality standards, it helps you even to choose seeds that have been certified. It's very important.
And also agribusiness, it provide opportunities for women to participate in various roles along the value chain, promoting gender equality, and also empowering women empowerment in the community. Yeah. I
think when we do empowerment in the rural areas, we really empower women more. Because I'm looking at this, I have a couple of my friends who probably come from the same area. What happens is that their fathers moved to Nairobi, for jobs and the rest, and they left their mothers. So they left the family in the rural area.
Yeah.
They moved to
the urban. Yeah.
So in Nairobi. So it simply means if we go back to the village or the rural areas, and we are empowering the farmers over there, you find most of the times it's probably the women who are left tendering the tea, tendering on the coffee, all that stuff. So if you come back and empower the whole issue of agribusiness, so you're empowering a whole family.
Yeah.
So probably these gentlemen will not have to move to this place in order to get some of these. They will have their companies and industries over there in the rural areas.
Yeah, sure. Yes. Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah, and also the practicing of the sustainable practices. Therefore, many agribusinesses are adopting to the sustainable and environmental friendly practices that contribute to both economic and environmental well-being in the rural areas. Therefore, through this contribution, to really develop the rural areas.
Yes.
Yeah.
One underlying thing that cuts across in both rural, urban, or even in the international, the globe, is the whole issue of sustainable practices.
Yeah.
It's very important. If we continue doing this, what you're saying, that we need to empower the rural, we continue doing it year in, year out. We are there to give certified seeds, we're there for training, we're there for information. That simply means we will be opening our rural areas.
True.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we'll be empowering many families and many farmers.
Yeah.
I think it's important for us to say that the empowerment of the rural areas by both the county governments, by both individuals, by public-private partnerships, by the government itself, even by individuals who want to invest and they want to build companies or the rest, they can go to the rural areas and start empowering from them.
Yeah, because first of all, the rural areas, when it comes to purchasing of land, it's cheap.
Yes.
It's cheap and it's affordable. So if you start there, then it's going to be, start by, buy a piece of land there, start a setup, of which the labor will be cheap from the, from the rural. The labor is cheap because, they all need like just little money.
Yes.
And then you start up something, and from that, by the time people will be coming investor, that one person, if you just do it by you, like for instance today you start something in the rural area, people be coming and investors be like, oh, you did this now, and they be like, you're booming, you're doing well, they be like, now let's compete with it. Someone else decides to challenge you, comes and starts something like whatever you started, like a lookalike. And there will be that competition, and someone else will be like, oh, nowadays I'm at this place, this is where my company is situated, this is what I do, and they're like, can I get a piece of land somewhere? And that's how you develop, and through that you see roads opening,
Yes.
market opening, get to people are trying to migrate to that place, buying land and constructing houses, and that's how someone who had rentals continue, booming, and people will be working in that company, will be living within.
Yes.
And that's how it develops from rural to urban.
Yeah.
Actually, that's how Nairobi grew. Yeah. And now even Kitengela, I remember back in 2009, this place was just, I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, my mom, I wish those days she could just have bought a farm. Just here. Yeah, right now we'll be having a flat here. I'm having income, and I'm like, I don't need to work. At the end of the month, rent being paid, you pay rent, I collect rent, and I'm good. I don't need to go out and struggle.
That's Gen Z. That's Gen Z.
I'm just trying to.
But it's good.
Yeah.
That's better. It simply means.
But once you're a landlord, you start tasting the money from the rentals. Let me tell you, you'll never stop. You'll do investment, put up another rentals, start receiving rent again and again and again. It never stops.
That's the beauty of opening up. What I'm saying is this, and I think this is will be my bulletin as I end this. I was looking at my rural area in terms of milk production, in terms of that is dairy, in terms of poultry farming. We were talking with you, and you were saying at times you will take your milk to Kitambo. Kitambo, we had these lorries that will come in the morning.
Yeah.
They will pick milk. And
We still have them.
And back in the rural area, you are supposed to be there, I think, at 6:30 and sometimes 5. If it's Christmas, you need to be there at 5. I think 5:30. So imagine you had to milk your cows irregular hours than the normal days. Okay, so there has been a growth of milk cooling plants, and it has really eased the stress for farmers.
Yeah.
In terms that you you don't have the stress of waking so early in the morning, having irregular milking hours. It has really helped farmers in terms of those cooling plants, because you take the cooling plant, and then the distributors will come and take their milk at their own time. And then so it acts like a warehouse where you all bring your
Milk, yeah.
and then they can take it to the milk processing plant.
Remember, I used to have those KCC, big ones. We used to call them KCC tanks.
Yes.
I remember you used to have those people who have the 10 liter, the 20 liters.
Yeah.
You could just ride them like this all the way until
Oh yeah.
those days. Hey, just
And that has really helped farmers.
yeah,
So
very.
when we empower the rural areas,
Mhm.
not just because the government is coming, but because we want to set up our own industries, our own factories. I'm also looking at the issue of dairy cattle, dairy feeds.
Yeah.
There was also a problem that when the dairy feeds are finished, you had to order, I think, from Nakuru or Nairobi. You had to wait for, I think, 3 days until
Or even
they
a week.
arrive.
Yeah.
But nowadays we are having
Agrovets.
agrobits. We
They
are having
sell them.
people who are milling,
Yeah.
making this produce. It really isn't the whole issue of dairy farming and poultry farming,
Yeah.
and also pig farming and the rest. Any kind of farming that requires processed food, it has come in handy. And also the issue of what do you call them? This processed kind of food inafungwa kama karatasi, and then it's fed to cows, forgetting its name. But it has really helped in terms of dairy farming. So the bulletin is, once we invest in our rural areas, we are able to have sustainable farming, and we're going to have enough and fresh produce for those in the urban areas and even for the farmers themselves, and we're going to increase the quality of our pockets. As we say in Farm Drive, we want to run our farms as enterprises, as we want to maximize our profits and minimize
Our losses.
very important.
Yeah.
Your final one.
From me to you, have a good evening and enjoy the rest of the night.
Thank you for joining us on Farm Drive. It's always an honor having you on board. See you same time tomorrow as we tackle and as we grow in knowledge.
Bye bye.